Hello friends, I made this for. My name is Lauren, and today I am coming to you with a card of the year chat. So I've been meaning to make this video. If you've never been here before, hi, my name is Lauren. I like to talk about astrology, tarot, toxic spirituality. I'm a Capricorn, and it's my season, and I feel so good about it. But yeah, how are you? If you're a returning subscriber, welcome back. So in the past, I have occasionally talked about the card of the year, which you don't know. In numerology, when we add up the date, blah, 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 divide, whatever, subtract, right now all we have to do is add it all up. We get our card of the year. So, the card of the year for 2023. This is collective. This is not me pulling cards. This is information you can pull from other people. Other people's interpretation might be more resonant with you or more interesting to you. So I encourage you to look up card of the year from other folks if you are curious about it. Of course, as always, I'm going to talk about it through the tarot because it is the tarot, but 3 different decks. That's what I mean. I like to pull out 3 different decks to show us how different artists show us different facets of this interpretation of the energy. So, get myself put together. How are you feeling? You drinking water? Yep. You should drink more water. So, with everything that's going on in the world, remember, drink water. You don't have to do anything to change who you are. You're doing great. Just work on yourself. Be good. This information isn't going to change any of that for you. So today we're going to be looking at 3 different interpretations of the Chariot. My beautiful cat will probably come and make an appearance. And the decks we are using is the Way Home Tarot, which looks like so. The Fountain Tarot, like that one, and the Holy Spectrum. She's come here to pester me. So let's talk about it, because I love the Chariot. The Chariot is connected to Cancer, so Cancerian energy might be upon us this year. And what does that mean? Well, let's begin with the most classic depiction of the Chariot before we go to some very interesting alternatives. So the first one I'm going to share with you is the Fountain. And this is the Fountain's interpretation. We have a man standing in what might be a chariot. It's kind of hard to say. But holding the reins of 2 horses, almost like holding them back. And the horses are looking 2 different directions. We might not be going anywhere right now. We might be a little stagnant. And so this is a classic looking, but it's not the classic interpretation. Because if you are a tarot person, you know that the classic interpretation is a little bit more strange. There's sphinxes, there's stars, and that's beautiful. I love the classic interpretation. But for today, I thought, this is the card of the year. Let's just make it weird the whole way around. So, what do we see here? We see a standstill, and we also see the duality of light and dark. They are very clearly in front of us. Yeah? What does this say about the Chariot? Well, something that I have found in studying the tarot and actually taking a class from Lindsay Mack that has always stuck with me is that she mentions that this card is called the Chariot, not the charioteer, not the person in charge. It is the Chariot. So we're talking about the thing. We're talking about that which we inhabit. And so remember I mentioned that Cancer is associated with this card. This is the card for Cancer. And Cancer is the crab. So what do we take from that? There is a standstill. There is strength in what we know until it becomes too small for us. There's strength in what we know until it no longer serves us. There's strength in what we know until it eventually is not for us. So what does that mean? Well, that means we might be at a standstill, but that doesn't mean we're stuck. And with this card, when we see the two horses looking in both directions, we can almost take that as a, which direction do we move next? And there's something very powerful with that. With this year, collectively, can we ask ourselves, where do we go next? Yeah? So in the next interpretation, I want us to look at the Way Home Tarot. It's a salmon struggling in the fight for its life to go upstream, right? Where it will leave its brood and eventually die. This is the Chariot. The Chariot is not the person in it, but the form in which it inhabits. So something I want to invite you to think about when we look at this interpretation of the Chariot. This is going to be a quick video. I can already tell. This is after work, so I'm moving quickly. It's coming through easy. We can almost think of ourselves as the baby salmon in the little eggs that could, right? We can see ourselves as the Chariot here very easily because it's a fish and it's fighting. It's strength. It's showing the poise and determination of this species to procreate and survive. But something else to think about is, what does that salmon hold and why does it do what it does? Well, it does this work for the next step, the next generation, the next being to come forth, right? Again, remember, we're talking about the Chariot. We're thinking about the home from which the charioteer sits. Can you hear my cat purring? I'm just petting her offside. She's so content. So when we think about this version of the Chariot, we can see that there is some fight. There's tension in this card as well, right? The reins are not slack. They are taut. They are showing that tension. And they're crossed to kind of show we're at an impasse here, right? When the Chariot is in this symbol, in this sign, or in this interpretation, we can see that. But the struggle is not in vain. It is with purpose. The fish will meet its desired destination and do what it must for the survival of its species. But that means getting uncomfortable and using all of its efforts until death. There's very light and dark here. We can see this duality of what is comfortable is only comfortable for so long. With this year, we might have been the fish in the open ocean in years past, but now we have to swim upstream and remember where we came from. Remember, Cancer is the crab, and Cancer is also the maternal energy, the nurturer. So this nurturing energy is here to care, and not just care for what they are, but what is to come. But what is to come requires us to get uncomfortable in the space that we became accustomed with. We felt good here in the Chariot. But let's look at the Holy Spectrum, because this is where it all comes together, these three cards. We see a person in a car. That is the Chariot. But there's no wheels. There is, however, a dark figure beckoning them out. The Chariot comes to us as a reminder that our shields, our strength, these things that have served us well are not useless. They just don't serve us forever. This car probably got this person very far, but this car is just not going to have what it takes to go any farther. So does it make sense to stay in the car? Does it make sense to wait and stay with what's safe? That is kind of the question for 2023. That is the question of the Chariot. Can we be bold and brave? Yes. But that also means not being comfy. So, and that doesn't mean it has to be scary. It doesn't mean that we die. It just means we transform. We move outside the boundaries. We move outside the binary. We get unstuck. We let go of the tension that was holding us because we were just tightly wound, almost like a crab in its shell. If the crab doesn't molt, it dies. It literally will die. Crabs, as they get older, it becomes harder and harder to molt the old shell. And eventually, most crabs, if they don't die from predators, will simply die in the shell. So the Chariot comes to us as a reminder of, you can do the brave thing. It's going to feel very vulnerable to give it your all. It's going to feel very confusing to leave what was safe and structured and dropping those controls, because our shell is our control. Our comforts are control. And let's face it, over the past 3-4 years, we might have gotten really comfortable in certain shells. We might have all collectively gotten very normalized to things that felt like, okay, I found it. I found the thing. But the only thing has changed. I think what's really funny is I had a personal story. I had a post that I scheduled for my Instagram a year ago. I had forgotten about it. It posted automatically yesterday. And I had scheduled that because I thought that, yes, by this time next year, I'm going to be putting out this program and I'm going to be working with people one-on-one and doing this work with people one-on-one. I was in my own coaching program. So I'm going to help creatives move through blocks and work with people one-on-one, and that's going to be my full-time job, and I'm staking that flag in the sand. And that was going to be my identity, but it's like, here I am a year later, and I'm looking at grad school, and I'm working at a school which I thought I would never do again, and I actually love it this time. So it's like we create these shells of protection because of course we do. We are human. We have to protect ourselves. We have to do the things. And so some of those things become like safe. But eventually those things that we did and do, well, we outgrow them. And they don't actually serve us forever. We think we will be doing something forever and we plan this out and that's it. And then life, God, Spirit, the universe reminds us how even those things that feel so permanent and so supportive were just stepping stones, those ideas of self. All of these trappings, all of these things that allow us to feel powerful and in control are no longer getting us where we need to go, because the next step is going to require us to swim upstream and start anew. And I hope that can be supportive for you in your 2023. I hope you have an amazing Chariot year. And the truth is, we just move to different chariots. We get one and then another, and we leave that one for another, and we just continue, because life will always give us new cards to use. And so I hope if you are really resonating with the Chariot, pull out your own interpretation of this card from your own deck and ask it questions. Draw it. See what kind of magic it has unfolding for you. Because the Chariot is a reminder that we are always outgrowing shells and building again. And it doesn't have to be really painful. It can be hard work. But it can also just be fucking exciting and liberating and limitless. So, I hope you found that supportive. Thank you so much for being here. Let me know down below. Did you find this supportive? Do you find this helpful? Yeah. I'll see you in the next one. Don't forget to drink water. Bye-bye.